if you could grab the link for this stream and feed it to the chat in the last stream. Massive appreciation. If anybody could do that. Let's still go. So we just got to give the info for the new stream on right. So let's see if we can get the shareable link copied to the clipboard. Let me see if I can share it with I think that's it. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. I feel so bad though. Like, right? My it's this weird thing. It's this weird thing that happens, right? I use a multi-streaming service called Restream, and sometimes in the middle of a stream, it'll say like your stream key is not correct, or your stream key is not functioning. Please, re-enter the stream key and blah 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 blah. But the thing that sucks about it is that like that's like I've got it set so that YouTube doesn't stop my stream, and that like right, if my stream dies on YouTube, it like hangs on until the internet comes back, which is a good thing. But it doesn't stop my multi-streamer from kicking me out. Got kicked out of the last stream shortly after it ended. So some of you are finding it. I held out hope. Yeah, no, we're gonna do the bonus content. Chat, I would hate to. I would be remiss to, to have so much support from such a generous chat, and then to be like, okay, thank you for supporting the stream. Now no bonus content. I mean, it could happen that the internet goes down and I'm unable to do that. I'm unable to, I get stopped, but that's the last thing I want to happen. So we are back. Let's finish this. If you can, copy this link and feed it to the chat. That is, if they're still there, if that chat is still open. I think I gave them the link though. Should be good.
Video was Elon Musk and his buddy going over all of these social security numbers. And so the first thing I wanted to try and do on the Patrick Bet David show was to bring this up and talk about it. But what was fascinating is how quickly they wanted to get away from this. So here is this first clip of that. I watched the video of you guys on the plane down of when Elon Musk was in Wisconsin blowing up his whole brand, essentially. And he was on stage with a guy named Garcias. Do you guys remember this video?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. It was like 2 days ago.
Yes. The Social Security numbers spiking in the last 4 years.
The Social Security numbers.
2.2 million new non-citizen Social Security numbers. Yes.
And the amount of misinformation from every single person, all of you, was astonishing to me.
What was it? What was the misinformation?
I mean, well, I almost feel like we should go through the whole video.
This is coming from a socialist.
No.
The level of credibility of a socialist.
Yes,
a system that has never worked. But I want to hear it.
That is anti-oligarch.
But I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Go for it.
So no, chat, this is very reminiscent of my early career. As some of you may know, I was a debate streamer when I started to get noticed, and so this whole what this is called is a dog pile, right? And the thing about a dog pile, even in the milieu of Twitch politics, is that it kind of looks bad for the people that are doing the dogpiling, right? Like, if somebody comes on to debate and, like, 5 people, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 4 people. It's 4v1. right? So even if you lose a debate, right, if you're fighting 4v1, you kind of get some credit for the fact that you're getting dogpiled. But I don't know, chat. Is this just what PBD does? Like, I kind of think this is, like, if they ever have a guest that is on the left, like, that this is what they do. This is just their, and you know, we've talked about this phenomenon on Pierce. Pierce will sometimes dress it up, like, you know, if you look at a lot of Pierce, I'm trying to remember who I saw on there that got dogpiled, right? But a lot of Pierce's content, a lot of his debates are dogpiles. A lot of debates, you know, he'll have one or two people on the left. But the way that he gets around that is to say, okay, I'm Pierce Morgan. I'm in the center. I have no dog in this fight. I don't count left or right. But obviously he's hitting you from the right. So, you know, he's Trump's friend. I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah, of course Pierce counts as a right-wing interlocutor. Then he'll have, I don't know, 3 legitimately, unarguably right-wing people. And then he'll have some people that are like, oh, yeah, well, you know, Dave Rubin's here and he's a lefty. And it's like, Dave Rubin is not a lefty. Like, or this is why I think they like using Jink and Anna, right? Is that, like, they can get them on and be like, yeah, this is, you know, this is a lefty here. They're coming from the left, right? And it's like, on most issues, they are not going to be arguing from the left. They're somewhat reliable to argue, you know, to the right wing on issues like immigration and trans rights and, you know, et cetera, right? So, you know, Pierce Morgan will have some veneer of like, no, it's not really a dog pile, you know, it's actually more like, right, but it's not fair. But PBD, I don't think they even, like, PBD has created its own reality from what I've seen from this debate, right, in particular, right? They've got their own reality where these issues that they're going to bring up, that Sam's going to bring up, are already decided. So Sam's actually, like, wrong and incredibly stupid for bringing up, like, I don't know, the issue of, are there open borders, right? In the minds of PBD and his crew, this is a settled issue. And Sam is just like, well, you're gonna lose your audience is what you're gonna do, Sam. All the people that maybe they're left wing, but they've seen this issue torn down by people on the right time after time after time, and even they've realized, okay, like, I'm gonna be against the open borders, right? You know, they feel like in their consensus reality, this matter is already decided. So that's what they're going to hit Sam with. It's essentially gaslighting.
First off,
Yeah.
you seem to not understand that these were not undocumented immigrants who were getting these Social Security numbers. They are non-citizens. Now, when you came to this country,
Yeah.
you were an immigrant. Your parents came legally.
Right.
Every single one of those people who got those Social Security numbers are here legally. They're not citizens, just like you weren't when you first came to this country.
Yeah.
You get a green card. Your parents get a green card. They go through a process.
Yeah.
All of those people, and to understand, they got their Social Security
That's your point.
card.
I really want to see your point.
Well, the point is, you referred to them as undocumented and illegal.
No,
you did.
I said non-citizen.
No, excuse me.
Don't say everyone here.
This is not wild. Because I can see his point already. Like, I've got an inkling of what he's getting at, right? But PBD is acting like, what the fuck is your point? Like, how could this have anything to... Like, as if Sam's just offering a non sequitur.
I said non-citizen. Correct yourself.
I can't remember which one of you got it wrong. I think you did.
Just be
Right, so
specific.
you're thinking, but
We can play the video and go through it, but
I'm still trying to get to the point.
I just want to make
point?
well. The point is, they're not they're not illegal.
Yeah.
They're not undocumented. They're all legal.
Right.
Okay. They went on like this. They kept, like, you know, a bad. What's the point? So because they wouldn't let me go through it, we're going to go through this video so they can see, and it is true that Patrick Bet David never said that they were illegal, but at least 2 other guys on the panel did, and Patrick Bet David never corrected them. It's all like this mysterious thing. And in fact, the guy on stage with Elon Musk, who himself is also an immigrant, said this. Go ahead. Started from like 55 seconds in. Yeah, right there. 40, yeah. Just before this guy says this.
And we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America.
Pause it. He's going to show a chart of 2 million plus Social Security numbers given out under a program called the EBE. That is enumeration, providing a Social Security number, beyond entry. After they have entered. They are all legal. This is a program that was started under President Donald Trump in 2017. It is a coordination between the Social Security Administration and Homeland Security to give Social Security cards to people who are in this country legally. Maybe they have a green card, maybe they have temporary protected status, etc. Those numbers are definitely higher in 2024 because you had a lot of people on temporary protected status from Haiti because of all the unrest there, from Ukraine, from Afghanistan. We had a big surge. And all of these people are legal. Some percentage of them may ultimately become citizens, but the Social Security card they get literally says on the card, you cannot use this to vote. And what happens is these people pay in to Social Security, and most of them will never get payouts because you need to be an American citizen to get payouts. Now, the ones that ultimately become citizens, as opposed to going back home, will get Social Security, but most of them don't. So we have undocumented immigrants in this country pay about $22 billion into the Social Security fund. These folks, several $billions that they will never get payouts from. So just listen to this from this, and with that knowledge.
And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now. That work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on.
Wow. Pause it right there. Okay, so can you zoom in? So do you know what this is? If you're watching this, so this is new non-citizen Social Security numbers issued. The furthest one to the left is 2021. That's Biden's first year. Okay, is there a way to see what that number is?
I can read it. I can't zoom in because it's a video, but it's 270,425.
That's first year.
Now, pause it for a second. To be clear, they're not showing you 2017, 2018, 2019, because they don't want you to know that this program started under Trump. Also, to be clear, you'll notice that in 2025, they're at a little bit less than half of what's in 2024. Donald Trump has been president for most of 2025, and they already got half in the first 2 or 3 months. That's because the program's actually working. The program is taking in now. There's no doubt there was more immigrants let in 2024, again, because of all these different but the program is getting them into the system, having them pay taxes, and not getting any of those Social Security benefits. But go ahead.
Biden giving out Social Securities. Second year looks like 590, if I'm not mistaken,
Correct.
Rob. Third year looks like 964.
Yep.
And fourth year is over 2 million, but is it 2,095,000?
Yeah, 2,095,247.
And can you do me a favor and research? And then this year, in the first few months, which means this is that really 960 in the first few months?
900,649.
That is wild to be thinking about. Rob, what is the year that we've given?
And from what I've heard about this this entire exchange on PBD, there's a lot of instances of them challenging Sam on something, bringing up the receipts, bringing up the, like looking it up like on stream, and accidentally debunking themselves, right? There's multiple times in which they're attempt to debunk Sam becomes a successful debunking of themselves.
Given out the most Social Security numbers out to non-U.S. citizens. Can we just kind of see? So 2.1 million, that means out of 340 million people living here, 1% of Social Security cards were given away just last year in 2024.
To people that aren't supposed to be here.
They're not.
Oh, wait a second. What? Whoa. Aren't supposed to be here.
I find it very interesting. I didn't pick it up.
That's the first lie. So now, watch if Patrick Bet David corrects him. They are supposed to be here. They are here. And they are put into the system and they're paying taxes and they're getting no benefits out. Go ahead.
To people that aren't supposed to be here.
They're not. These are not. What is the most? What's the most?
Oh, pause it. You see how he said, these are not. And he knows because he is one. He came to this country from Iran. His family, I think, were refugees. He probably came in under, if not the exact same program that these folks from Afghanistan, these folks from Ukraine, these folks from Haiti, or something that is similar. In 1980, he knows this. Just think about like what has to be going on in your head.
That's why,
Chad, I think we're gonna maybe have to do a deeper dive into this, right? Like at least from this segment that Sam's going over on the show, I'm getting the feeling that PBD got away with a lot of bullshit on this one. Right? I'm getting the feeling that this was a bit of a setup, and you know, it's kind of all Sam can do. If on the show he was getting talked over, you know, shouted down and gaslit, right? The only thing that he can really do is go to his show and be like, you know, like PBD, look at this. PBD never really answers this question. Like he goes right past this. You know, look at this. They debunk themselves, and yet they don't. You know, they're moving right past it. Right. The only thing he can do is try to kind of just be like, look at this bullshit. And again, this is not going to be watched by the PBD audience. Now, he's got a lot of motion behind him. If you don't know, Sam just did a Jubilee, what is it called? Surrounded? Surrounded is when you go on Jubilee with like 20 people that disagree with you, get surrounded, and, you know, you defend your viewpoint. And he did this, and it went all over the internet. It was like, you know, got him a lot of attention, right? So Sam may be able to get some sort of motion towards this, but yeah, I don't know. What do people think? The clips that I saw from PBD did give me the impression that what they're trying to do is be like, Sam Seder destroyed, Sam Seder gets wrecked, Sam Seder, you know, like confronted, like, you know, just all this shit. Like kind of makes it look like, you know, he's trying to hide something and they got him, and you know, all this shit. But same kind of shit that Tim Pool did, you know, especially after Emma ate his lunch on the Tim Pool on his podcast. But I just wonder like how much hay they're trying to make, how much hay they've successfully, like my impression of PBD also is that he's fallen off a little bit, not as badly as the Daily Wire, not as badly as even like Tim Pool, but I don't feel like he is, you know, he was at the height of his influence maybe like a year or a year and a half ago.
why he knew when you brought it up on the show that he didn't himself say it.
Exactly. He remembered that because he was walking a line. I'm going to let these guys say it. That's the way I do it.
Columbia Rican says the YouTube comment section was in favor of Sam. We'll take a look at here. I'll pull up the video and we'll take a look at it.
Go ahead.
1 million. That means out of 340 million people living here, 1% of Social Security cards were given away just last year in 2024.
To people that aren't supposed to be here.
They're not. These are not. What is the most? What's the most? What's the most?
All right, now he's doing
Social Security numbers in a year to non-citizens? What was that? Over 2 million. So the record is in 2024. Over 2 million.
Wow.
That is absolutely insane. So now, very basic. Why did this happen? What percentage of them do you think are going to be voting Republican? What percentage of them do you think are going to be voting on the left?
Oh, pause it. Listen, I am not able to see into the future, but I will tell you what percentage of those people will vote Republican and vote Democrat. 0%. Because on their Social Security card that they receive.
Yeah, Chad, that's wild. That's wild. Look at this. All the top comments are pro Sam. Unless YouTube is doing something weird where they, they serve me comments that they think I'll agree with. But yeah, these are getting like 2.5K votes here. They quit Googling things. He said after they noticed he was correct every time. This is why Crowder won't debate Sam. Wait, no, that one actually could be... I'm not sure, right? That one could be a right-winger saying that Sam is bad faith or yada yada, like, right, making like a Tim Pool argument. This is why no one will platform you, Sam. You're known as a bad faith actor. If anti-oligarch is an insult to you, you might need help. Wait, I don't know what that's coming from, but we're treating oligarchs' boots like lollipops is crazy. I can't tell who that one was directed at. No, we didn't ask about Waltz. After the guy asked about Waltz, saying we didn't ask about Waltz after asking about Waltz made me spit out my beer. Their attitude towards smaller countries is indicative of how they feel about work. The louder and redder I get, the more correct I become. That's definitely Vinny. Daddy's home, Sam Seder walking into the PBD podcast. What is this? Wait, chat, how is this even possible? How is it possible for PBD to get wrecked like this in his own comment section? Podcast is a perfect encapsulation of why all of our financial crises begin in Florida, because they're based in Florida, I guess. Props to the guest. Props to Sam. This was just a room full of people. This is what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. I don't see people bring this up, against Pierce or against a lot of right-wingers whose strategy is basically to dogpile people. But here's, ostensibly a PBD viewer. Unless these are just all, I don't know, unless they just got brigaded by the Majority Report fan base, which I don't think could happen. I don't think that MR, God bless him, I don't think MR has the numbers to be able to brigade PBD in the comments. But man, the props to the guest. It was just a room full of people who desperately wanted to express their personal opinions to a guy they disagree with, but don't even have the intellect to understand quite why. Wow. Even Hasan said that he thought that some of their points hit really hard on a coworker level. That is to say, that, you probably watch it and you realize how full of shit they are, but your coworkers watch it and they're like, oh, based. Oh, he really got him. But I don't know. This comment section is making me question Hasan's analysis of it. I kind of felt like that. I felt like maybe this was a mistake for Sam to walk into this particular lion's den, but maybe not. The comments are feeling him. What's the point about asking your guest a question if you're going to cut them off every time they start making a point and scream your position at him? Some of the arguments against him were literally, come on, man. Yes. But I thought that was going to resonate. I assumed that was exactly what PBD's audience wanted. I assumed that to a right-winger, they'd be like, oh, yeah, got him. Yeah, you told him to stop it. You told him to come on. Oh, fucking owned, Sam. But no, this audience, whoever these people are, they get it. Sort of profound to see a grown men behave this way, totally led by emotion and nothing else. Libs are snowflakes, facts over feelings bra, proceeds to have embarrassing toddler level meltdown. Damn. To PBD and the rest of the team, I'm a huge fan and I've been following you guys for a while, but Sam is right regarding your statement about Social Security and non-citizens. You guys are basically implied all non-citizens are illegals, which is completely inaccurate. Wow, what? This level of sophistication, chat, is not something I would have expected from PBD's audience. I don't get it. As a citizen that started out as a legal immigrant with a green card, I can tell you I received Social Security number immediately, and so did the rest of my nurse colleagues from the Philippines. Also, during the pandemic, the U.S. was importing a lot of nurses from the Philippines, I guess, and it came with them, and their spouses came with them. Probably made a huge impact in the influx of non-citizens, Social Security rise, which is the chart that he shows. Respectfully, with all due respect, whoa, that's so much respect, Doc Sweaters, damn. Respectfully and with all due respect, damn. That's like double the respect that I would expect. I have never witnessed 3 people be so cosmically stupid while being so assured of themselves. How is this a thing? I don't understand. This defies my expectation of the PBD audience entirely. Like, where are these where are these commenters coming from? This is 4 guys who will say anything to attract an audience that gives them money versus 1 guy who sticks to facts and wants a better life for all Americans. Basically 2.5 hours of PBD crew asking Sam why he has principles and why he sticks to them, even when they're unpopular. 1v4, and he still makes these clowns look stupid. I don't understand. I am utterly confused by this reaction from the comment section. Never occurred to me that when PBD asks Sam, how does inflation happen? Or what are tariffs? That he is actually asking because he has no idea. That is, okay, I gotta find, chat, here's my mission. I gotta find 1 comment that's pro PBD. All right, I'll stop looking when I see 1 the first pro PBD comment I see, I'll go back to the video, right? Holy shit, Sam wiped the floor with all these redacts. Is that a way to call somebody the R slur without saying it? Wow, amazing. This was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for uploading this. What? Thank you, PBD, for uploading this. Thank you for not burying it, I guess. I'm an independent. Sam just took you to school. Hey, at least the lessons were free. PBD, your unwavering support for DT and Donald Trump and his politics are tanking the economy. Is that why it is, chat? Are there literally this many upset Republicans that are just not down with Trump's latest actions? Terrible to watch. Whenever Sam made a point, it was that was verifiable via Google search. PBD crew just changed the topic every single time. This was embarrassing. 4v1 and you still got washed. Crazy. Yo, send that 1 red guy to the doctor. His blood pressure. That cannot be a PBD commenter. That cannot be a PBD fan. There's no way. They're talking about Vinny like that, right? Oh no, Sam Seder. What a fucking nightmare. This was a joke with 4 guys with bats and pipes. 1 guy with a broom. And he's somehow the one left standing. Sam is really the Thanos of the conservative pool. What the fuck? There's no positive PBD comments. Crazy how they can't comprehend a marginal tax rate. Just like the guy on, wasn't there a guy on Jubilee that didn't understand that? Wait, no, it wasn't Jubilee. Where was it? Was it Jubilee? Where they talked about the top marginal tax rate? Sam explained marginal tax rates 3 times, and I still am not sure if any of these 4 conservatives understood it. PBD's strategy is ask a stupid question, which forces the person being asked the question to struggle and come up with a decent answer to the best faith interpretation of the stupid question. 2, interrupt mid-answer, ask another equally stupid question or comment, befuddle the questionee further as they struggle to make sense of the gobbledygook. That's gotta be a Sam viewer. I mean, their name is NWO Alert, though. New World Order Alert. That sounds like an Alex Jones viewer, honest, if I'm being real. NWO, right? But they said gobbledygook. which is definitely Majority Report meme material. Draw a stupid conclusion and claim that what the opponent believes starting that is what the opponent believes starting an argument. Rinse and repeat. We will never make progress with a mindset like these guys at PBD have. Props to you for not deleting this video of you getting shellacked by Sam. I'm avoiding this godforsaken show for years now, but I'm extremely happy I watched this one. Okay, so that's obviously not a PBD viewer. I don't know where Sam gets the patience to deal with morons so calmly. Protect that man. How this PBD podcast has regular viewers. So that's not a regular viewer. So what is this? This is like a new audience coming in, agreeing with Sam, and then downvoting all the PBD people. They're so confident in the information, but they're flat out wrong. Like Sam calling out tariffs on uninhabited islands, and that one loser is like, no, they're all big countries. I'm going to list them all. There's no way you could be right about the uninhabited countries, how slapdash these tariffs and numbers are. Having an adult in the room really makes y'all look terrible. PBD asks Sam a question condescendingly. Sam answers the question and makes a good point. PBD changes to a different question because he can't respond to the point. How do I turn down Vinny's microphone? Oh, that's still dunking on Vinny. Majority Report debating libertarians was my first insight to how YouTube content was has very few leftist viewpoint voices being amplified. He did such a great job that I fell into a rabbit hole and watched more and more leftist content. I was absolutely shown the dim light of progressivism by Sam and cultivated that desire for meaningful lives thanks to him. So, you know what's sad? I'm a huge PBD fan.
Columbia Re. Super chatted $5. I think it's appropriate to play the Sam Seder martial arts fan video regarding the Jubilee, cause that is relevant right now and very entertaining.
Yeah. No, though I'm surprised at how entertaining the comment section is. Yo, I can't find a pro PBD question. Literally just asked him what he liked about Tim Waltz and then switched up. Props for keeping this up when your 4 versus 1 got absolutely murked. I love Sam Cedar. Wait, there's no positive PBD shit. Okay, let's try that again. What is this? Sam Cedar Martial Arts? See if we can find this. And thank you for the super chat, Columbia Rican. Sam Cedar Marsh. Am I gonna find this? Can you give me a little bit more about what this video is called? I know what you're talking about. I know the video that you're talking about. I just I'm gonna need more info on it. The fan art video regarding Jubilee, because that's very relevant right now. Looking for it. Okay, if we can find it, I'll watch it. If we can find it, I will definitely watch it. Anyway, chat, for the record, I scrolled way the fuck down, unable to find a pro PBD comment.
If it literally says,
so either they got like massively brigade, like I'm just trying to imagine what could brigade them, chat. Could Hasan have brigaded them? Could it be that Hasan watched this and it's the Hasanabi heads that are showing up for Unk? I'm trying to come up with I don't understand this, right? I could imagine, okay, look, I can imagine they 4v1 him, they act really bad faith, maybe they disappoint like a lot of people in their audience, like, right? Maybe like even up to like, I don't know, half of their fans are making comments like, hey, let the guy talk, right? But that's the most I would expect from the PBD comment section. Like this level of just dunking on PBD, it makes me think that someone sent their community, someone bigger than PBD, which actually not, I don't think Hasan is necessarily bigger than PBD. Majority Report's definitely not bigger than PBD. I don't know where these comments are coming from. Are the comments and likes much different than other videos on that channel? I haven't really... Well, wait, are you asking me, are they getting dunked constantly? On their channel? I don't think so. They used Itman and posed names on it. I'm looking for it. Okay, if you find it, or just give me the name. Probably pro PBD comments and one with 26 replies. Oh, wait, was that on there? Was I almost to it? One with 26 replies. 71 replies? 26 replies. Wait a minute. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Wait, did I just see 3 arrows? That's not a PBD viewer, okay? This is what I mean, chat. Somebody, some Reddit or some content creator or somebody found this video and sent in the fucking troops. Yeah, that's the 3 arrows icon. There's no way that's a PBD viewer. Love this comment section. Couldn't agree more. PBD asked questions before. Wow. Not letting him talk is crazy. First episode was way better, guys. You guys are so unclassy on this one. Damn. These guys on PBD are actually some of the most ignorant, idiotic people I've ever seen on a podcast, and that's saying something. You've seen a lot of podcasts then. Someone very orange once said, if any president causes the stock market to dip 1,000 points in a day, they should be impeached. Apparently no, though. Sadly, no. There is a fake tweet of Donald Trump floating around, supposedly from the Obama era, and, you know, supposedly implying that Obama should be impeached. And people are posting that to own Trump, but apparently that is a fake tweet, so I must disavow. What? Okay, there's no fucking positive PBD comments. Sam, werewolves aren't real. PBD, yeah, but if werewolves are real, shouldn't we all be upset about it? Sam, werewolves aren't real. Yeah, but Sam, what if werewolves are real? We need to do something if we find out werewolves are real, and I don't understand why you aren't upset about it. Sam, werewolves aren't real. Vinny, while stroking out. Sam, this is why your party lost. Charlie Kirk warned us about werewolves, and we have to be outraged about it. Other guy, I like money. No, but seriously, is there anyone on the show that doesn't do a 40-minute monologue before asking a question, right? They're treating Sam like he needs an intervention. He's saying things considered normal in most other Western countries. America is the radical standalone country. This condescending tone, my God. Conversation is rude. There are no fucking positive comments. Wait, no, that person gave them money to say this. Really disappointed in you guys. That's a $2 contribution to PBD. That's a super thanks. Which every content creator appreciates, but they're not going to appreciate the fact that somebody paid $2 to tell them really disappointed in you guys. You constantly talked over Sam and changed the topic. Damn. Don't give them $2 then. So glad the comment section is passing the vibe check. I don't understand. Where's this comment section coming from?
This is the words. This card is not eligible for voting purposes. They did.
Wait, you just sent me the title of the YouTube video via a $2 super chat? I don't know why it didn't show up. The title, Sam Cedar's debate, TLDW. Thank you. It's TLDW. I remember it now. Thank you. And sorry that you couldn't get my attention. TLDW. Oh. You remember? Anybody remember the content creator? There's like a right-wing content creator named TLDR, but like that, like their icon was a teal deer. TLDW Sam Cedar. Oh, here we go.
Sam Seder wants to come on, but I think he's one of the most disingenuous human beings in the space, so...
Would you ever debate Sam Seder?
No, he's a horrible, horrible human being.
Oh, why did they do this shit all letterbox?
No, Sam Seder, what?
Wait, no. Just a second. We gotta do this. I want to see the names on these. Okay, so we got a sycophant, we got a religious zealot, we got a grifter, we got an incel, we got a bigot, we got a unique libertarian. Those are always fun. Sam loves the unique libertarians. We got the undisclosed Heritage Foundation member. We got somebody loudly misinformed. We got future token, Fox News blonde, and we have a Steven Crowder fan. This is, if I really wanted to, I could stop it. Like, you know what I mean? I could pause it. And then I could correlate each of these, what do you call this in comic books? Like the biff, bam, boom thing. I could correlate each of these with a moment in the debate. This would be a fun video for somebody to make. Rapid fire facts. Fine woke. Wait, did somebody say deal ontological? Michael would love this. Michael would love this. Do it for Michael. You're in a cult, yes. Oh no, this is a Steven Crowder fan.
Oh no, Sam Seder.
You were so fucking cooked, bro. You were so cooked.
What a fucking nightmare.
Wait, what? Defending spousal abuse? Is that what he like hits him with? Whoa. God damn. What a beatdown.
I mean, obviously you can see they don't do any research. They're just willing to lie about this stuff. Go ahead.
Did this? What was the motive? Tom, lots of questions. Your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts on this is obviously, I mean, first of all, I really appreciate this guy saying, hey, I'm in favor of legal immigration, and thanking the people that were working in the SSA, Social Security Administration, who cooperated with them and said,
pause it
hey,
for a second. This is a funny part with this guy. This guy is supposedly like their policy expert. They always defer to...
Yeah, that's their smart guy. Rave says, I think Hasan made a really good point today when he said, I feels like when people started taking COVID seriously, the mood shifted in the general public. Wait, what was he talking about? When people, so the moment that it wasn't just like, you know, because if you remember, like prior, like, look, there's a lot of moments where there'll be some disease out there and you'll see media reports like the new swine flu is, been spotted in, these places. Sometimes it'll get to the point where we've got like, human infection, right? That's another case. And sometimes we like got human to human transmission, right? That's another, right? So, but like a lot of this stuff, it never really gets big enough, at least doesn't affect the United States enough for it to become a major story. Now, COVID was different because you saw this happening. You saw this, you saw this all going down, like normally, but then, it was like, person infected in Seattle nursing home, person infected in New York City, right? Like it actually, affected everyone a lot, right? And so there was a moment where people went from just being like taking this of like, oh yeah, that'd be really COVID, whatever that is, if that becomes a thing, to like, yeah, COVID's a thing. We got to stand 5 feet apart. We got to wear masks. We gotta hand sanitizer everywhere, right? There was a moment in which COVID became super serious. I think that's what you're saying that Hasan was talking about. Any comments that have lots of replies mean contention usually? Sort of. Livestream fail? You think livestream fail is going to brigade PBD? Did she get the super chat? Wait, I did. I got the Sam Seder on Jubilee. Let's scroll down. Actually saw a Pro Sam comment with a $50 dono. To PBD? No way. Don't give PBD your $20. regardless of where the Sam supporting comments came from, the lack of support. Yeah, for the host, you would think that they'd be able to beat that back a little bit, right? I mean, I guess it's worth like opening one or two of them and looking at the comments, seeing if there is. Sam Cedar is Ip Man. Yes. They're called hit bubbles. Thank you. Is this one of the Ip Man movies? I kind of hope not. I hope I don't get copyright claim for it. Who said art is dead, right? Super chat from Omega Star. I don't know why it didn't read it out. I guess it just couldn't pronounce K-O. Wait, I was supposed to say that with a lower voice, right? K-O. I can't do it. You know what I mean, Omega Star. It's a K-O. It's a KO. That Sam Ip Man, Wing Chun, Gung Fu, Sifu, who trained Bruce Lee, is a great scene. AI didn't knock out in that suit. Yeah, I know, right, Mila? There were a few posts about PBD episode on the Destiny subreddit. Maybe fans on a break missed brigading. Wait, okay, so now here's the funny thing. Like the Sam, there may be Destiny fans who like agree with Sam against PBD, against Jubilee, etc., etc. But yeah, the relationship between Sam and Destiny is not good. Destiny brought him on to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, and what did Destiny say? Like basically, look, if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, he would be slurping down bucket loads of his cum or something. A KO sound from the Dead or Alive games, or Virtue of Fighter would be about, right? KO. I can't do it low enough. But you get the idea.
Him and his big commentary on this, which he has no idea what policy is. He has no idea it's the EB. He didn't, like, the thing that he really appreciates about it is that the guy, Garcias, was nice to the people at Social Security Administration, who obviously either told him the wrong information or told him, how to present it as if this is nefarious. That's the policy guy's response. But let's see, does he imply that these are undocumented people? Go ahead.
First of all, I really appreciate this guy saying, hey, I'm in favor of legal immigration.
He's polite.
And thanking the people that were working in the SSA, Social Security Administration, who cooperated with them and said, hey, you're here looking for waste and fraud. You need to see this. So that means that there are people in the Social Security Administration who are realizing what was happening. And what do I think about this? I think the administration in power at the time was a Biden administration, and the support of Schumer and Pelosi.
Sam threw those bucket loads of cum back in his face. Yeah. Sarcastically for Destiny, genuinely for Sam Cedar. Oh, yeah, Sam's a pleasant person in Destiny. Sarcastically speaking.
Very, very liberal on this issue. They were issuing Social Security numbers to non-citizens. They were helping people who got here to stay here and work here legally.
Okay, right there, boom, right there. No.
The ding ding ding, is that a like a sound drop on Sam's soundboard, or is that something on PBD? I don't know.
They were not helping people who got here to stay here and work illegally. Incorrect. Perfectly legal. Now, of course, he doesn't.
See, now, if Sam remembered John McLaughlin, he could say, wrong.
Like the 900,000 in this year, in 2 months, at this rate, it could be a much bigger number.
I bet Sam Cedar watched John McLaughlin, like it was Saturday morning cartoon.
But they are legal. These people.
Don't you think young Sam Cedar probably watched the McLaughlin report? Yeah.
Are doing exactly what these people supposedly purport to want, which is you need to be legal. And they're paying their taxes, and they're not going to get their Social Security benefits unless they end up being citizens, which is also supposedly what they want.
That's Sam's soundboard?
Continue on. It's just The whole segment. It's a 16-minute video. We're not going to go through the whole thing. But we can't even get through the first 3 minutes without all of them lying about this.
Were issuing Social Security numbers to non-citizens. They were helping people who got here to stay here and work here legally. And by the way, Vinny, I'll give you something here. Let me ask you a question. So every state in the nation, you have to be a citizen and you have to have a Social Security number to get a real estate license or an insurance license. And Pat would know something about that. He founded, had vision, and built one of the largest insurance distribution companies in history. And guess what? We would go to the states and say, well, all the person has is an ITIN, which is a temporary number. Sorry, can't be an agent. If you have a Social Security number and then they lied to us about citizenship, guess what? The state of California, state of Texas wouldn't know. Now you've got this. So they're giving Social Security numbers out to people, I believe, knowing full well that they're helping them hide in plain sight as illegals, because
there you lied again about
a job and they say, do you have a Social Security card? Yes, I do. I'll show you my Social Security card and my number right here. And you fill out a what's it called, an I-9 with I think that's the form that an employee has to fill out to say that they're a citizen, an I-9. And so this is the previous administration giving Social Security numbers out so people can hide in plain sight who are actually not citizens.
And the main goal was for what, Tom? To change the voting block in America.
Right there. I-9, you fill that out, and you have to show something. So here's my Social Security number, here's my driver's license.
Yes, they found out that, yes, you have to fill out an I-9. But everything else they're talking about is a complete fabrication. And Vinny is going to say that they're doing this to change the electorate. Again, they cannot vote. Just like Patrick Bet-David's parents, when they first got here and they just had a green card or they had a visa or they were here under maybe there was a specific law about Iranian refugees. I think it was in the late 80s that he came. Could have been, theoretically. They could not vote until they became citizens. And he knows it. He knows it. He knows that every dollar that he has made, aside from there being maybe lax regulation about certain practices, is a function of him being able to come into this country, have his parents get a visa, and he is targeting all of those other people, letting the people to the left and to the right of him literally lie about these people and demonize them.
It was just 3 months ago that Patrick Bet-David had the whole H-1B kerfuffle where he took Elon and Trump's side on that. And I would just encourage any of PBD's listeners to look up, can H-1B visa holders get SSNs? And you'll find out.
In fact, they 100% get it through the EBE program.
Yep.
Good.
Is there slightly more complicated than one would imagine, given PBD's just like perceived level of intellectual, capacity? Is he doing something a little bit more sophisticated than you would expect in, since he, on this issue, since he knows this shit isn't true, he doesn't want to be out there, lying, knowing that he's lying, and be, kind of seen as pulling up the ladder after he climbs up it. And so he's got people around him that just don't know, and he's relying on them to tell the lie to keep his own hands. Like, is this a slightly more sophisticated propaganda operation than I realized?
Main goal was for what, Tom? To change the voting block in America. Right there.
I-9, you fill that out, and you have to show something. So here's my Social Security number, here's my driver's license.
Yeah.
And guess what?
I just found it. I found the year with the most given, Rob. So more than 37 million Social Security numbers had been issued by the end of 1937. That's a total had been given. In the next dozen years, the number varied with the number of new entrants into covered employment, it reached at a peak of 7.6 million given in 1942, but dropped to 2.7 million post-war period 46 through 50. Okay.
But wasn't the first year the starting point? Because there's only like 90 million Americans.
But hear me out. This continues. Then the highest number of Social Security numbers issued in a single year was 9.1 million in 1990. Here's a more detailed breakdown. The peak year for social numbers was not. Rob, do me a favor. Type this in Google, and you'll see exactly what I'm looking at.
Here we go. Here we go. This is what everybody's telling me about that. They Google stuff to try to prove that they're right, and they end up proving Sam right.
Now, that is why I kept saying Google it, because I found out that that's the way they do their research in real time. Great. And I told them on the show over and over again, Google it. Go forward a little bit, because the other dude who sits on his right, I can't remember what that other guy's name is. Okay, so here we go. This Tom guy is awesome, because he pretends like he's the wonk, and he never has anything to say.
I believe, look this up, I believe the Family Support Act was if you were claiming dependents on your tax return, they had to have a Social Security number, and sometimes people wouldn't get Social Security numbers for their kids until they were 16 and going to get a job.
That's true.
I think that 15 million in 2 years was so that people could have to put
it's unclear to me. I guess the idea is that they thought the angle on this, like Patrick Bet-David, I think realized very quickly, like, wait a second, these are not illegals. They're non-citizens. I'm going to let these guys run with the whole conspiracy theories associated with it, but I need to come up with an angle. And the angle I'll come up with, and because, of course, he had no idea about any of this before he ran, is Biden allowed much more immigrants in that year than in other years. They're also a little bit hampered by the fact that under Trump, that number is half after 3 months that it was in all of 2024. So they're flying blind here, but he is going to like hang on to this like number of immigrants. Like Biden just let in a bunch of immigrants. So it's just anti-immigrant sentiment, of which Patrick Bet-David was not born in this country.
Yeah, when they say illegal, they mean foreigner.
Go ahead.
It's a phenomenon we got to look into more deeply. I feel like there's a massive underestimation of the amount of, of people that are just like Patrick Bet-David, and that, immigration and being a non-citizen in the country, what they are now calling an illegal, is part of their background, but who are nonetheless supporting, this moral panic against immigrants, out of the sense that the Trump administration is targeting people not like them, when in actuality,
Social Security number on their tax return
for taxes
to identify a dependent.
Okay, so then the title here is what? New non-citizen Social Security numbers issued. New non-citizen. What is the most we've done for new non-citizens? I'm really curious at this point. Most Social Security
Maybe look it up before the
numbers
show.
given to non-U.S. citizens.
Edit this out of the clip, too.
Are you able to find it? Do you see any of it?
It keeps coming back to 2024 with 2 million. Yep.
You keep seeing that. Me too. I keep seeing this.
Yeah, for like somebody that got owned this hard on his own show in a 4v1 situation, like, I'm just amazed at the amount of clips that PBD cut, which have titles that make it sound like they characterize the interaction as like the exact opposite dynamic of what it really was.
The same thing as well. Guys in the back, can you also look this up to see, maybe you find something that we're not seeing? Adam, what are your thoughts on this?
So, get off your phone, Adam.
I'm doing the math here. That's what I'm sort of doing right now. So we talked about last week, his gold card.
Adam, have some water.
I will, buddy.
Oh my God.
No, I was doing math.
Is Adam okay? Is Adam okay?
In the middle of it, but we talked about the gold card last week.
Wait, was PBD literally just commenting that his voice is a little bit ragged, or is he noticing that Adam is not cracking? What is going on here?
This is what they do, incidentally. When they don't know what they're talking about, they immediately pivot to something that they do know about. So you're talking about Social Security numbers from immigrants, and let's see, I'm doing the math.
Garthel says compensation. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think it's some form of like for them to be able to I don't know, like being a right-wing immigrant, you've got to convince yourself in some way that you are not you're talking about the bad people, right? The bad immigrants, but you've got to in some way convince yourself that you're not like that. You're not, you're not that person. If only for just to be comfortable in that setting and not look to your left and look to your right and realize these are people that would like to see me shipped to El Salvador and my head shaved and me thrown in a fucking cage like an animal, right? That's not a comfortable feeling, right? So you got to do something to sort of deny that, right? I guess maybe this is their... It's weird how this kind of shit reinforces the anti-immigrant rhetoric in people instead of maybe giving them pause on being part of this moral panic.
Here, Trump is doing also something that has to do with immigrants where you can buy citizenship. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with. Go ahead.
Adam, have some water.
I will, buddy. No, I was doing math in the middle of it, but we talked about the gold card last week.
Yeah.
People are paying $5 million to get access to America. $5 million. How many people did he say that did this? Like 1,000 people already? They're trying to raise billions of dollars, potentially $1 trillion. Yeah. Why would you pay? Just come in illegally, go through this whatever nonsense.
Yeah, that's right. A white South African is a good immigrant. Now, like, I wonder about this this gold card thing, right? Thoughts on that? Guy looks like he's he's a very large cabinet. Like he's a very large cabinet full of racist. Wait, like he's a very large cabinet full of racist memorabilia. Sam and Destiny also debated about the student loan forgiveness a while back. Very unproductive. There's so much bass in his voice. It's setting my and PBD, PBD's voice. It's like the opposite of Jamie. Look that up. Yeah. The coconut on the head sound.
Sensical waste, fraud, and abuse process.
Okay, pause. Just let me clear. Just to be clear, they're not coming in illegally. Again, these are for non-citizens. The reason why they say non-citizens is because they are here legally. They're just not citizens. And the process, the waste and fraud process he's talking about, is literally compel them to pay taxes and knowing that they will unlikely even receive the benefits from that.
I'm just be part of America. So it just seems like the people who are doing things right are are not prioritized. People who are skipping the line, not going through the door, are just skipping the line and able to cheat the system. So do you know what happened this
for a second? These people are literally going through the system. They are part of the system. They are so systematized, they have a number.
If anybody's skipping the line, it's the gold card purchasers, right? They're literally no difference other than this person's got 5 million to drop.
And that's sort of the hallmark of being in the system.
They literally are issued a number. They're so in the system.
They have like a multi-digit number.
You can't get further into the system unless we were to physically shove each legal immigrant into a computer.
Like Tron?
Go ahead.
Skipping the line and
Literally shove them into a computer like Tron?
able to cheat the system. So do you know what happened this weekend in the UK? Did you hear what they hosted? So this past weekend in the UK, they hosted the summit to end illegal immigration. It was called the Organized Immigration Crime Summit, put on by Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer. 40 countries participated. $33 million is what they're putting towards doing what? Prosecuting smugglers who are basically helping to smuggle people into the UK and into Europe. And it's not the countries that you would suspect to be there. Obviously, the US was there, France was there, but Vietnam was there. Why is Vietnam there? Iraq was there because this illegal immigration or mass migration is not just an American thing. It's not just a UK thing. It's happening all over the world. Essentially, people from poor countries, authoritarian countries are like, what the hell am I doing here? And they're going to cross the border illegally. The rich people are going to be okay. Like,
Sorry. That I just didn't need is illegal again. I don't know if we need to go through this, although it's pretty funny. There's another 8 minutes on this, and it's basically 6 minutes, and they're just basically telling us. So when you see in the PBD thing, when I start to bring this up, why all four of them start to lose their minds and start to yell at me, it's because they must have known they had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah, they didn't know they were showing their ass, and then they panicked. It's a good point that he...
It's like a certain level of rhetorical sophistication in absence of any sort of understanding of the issue that they're talking about, right? I mean, look, this is the essence of debate pervertry. It's not about facts. It's not about logic. It is about knowing, yeah, I mean, you'll use facts, you'll use logic, you'll load up your gun with, you know, little factoids that you picked up on Wikipedia or something to make yourself sound smart, but that's all it's for. That's all you care about is sounding smart. Right, as far as actually understanding what the fuck you're talking about, you got no fucking interest. And when you realize that that's a liability, you just talk over the person. You move to another tactic. So yeah, there's a rhetorical sophistication in service of making up for, you know, the pretty profound ignorance that pervades this podcast.
It brings up at the end there that it's actually not just a conspiracy against the West, that they're displaced people.
It's right. And also that they're living in places that are authoritarian and bad regimes. Like understanding that the dynamic of immigration is far more often about where they are being unlivable. For instance, let's say you kept cooing their government over the...
This is what I always say. People don't immigrate. People don't pull up their roots and leave and leave their life behind and go to another country for out on a whim or to like because they hate American values. They want to poison the blood of America or whatever. They do it because there's something wrong in the country that they live in, and very often that thing is a dynamic that the United States foreign policy has set into motion. Case in point, Venezuela. Hit by sanctions by Trump, and then surprise, surprise, we get a huge wave of immigration from Venezuela. And then the fucking Republicans and Trump, he gets elected based on results of his own policy. People's reactions to those negative results is to leave Venezuela, to try to come into the United States, and then he uses this to be like, they're poisoning the blood, they're coming in, they're murdering Laken Riley, they gotta protect Laken Riley even though she's dead already, but there could be Laken Riley's ghost. We'll be happy if we deport the immigrants to El Salvador and shave their heads and take pictures of them and put it on Twitter. You know, I don't know, chat. I don't know, chat. It's some sick shit when you actually think about this issue. Every step along the way too, from Trump's just craven lying, from him using an issue that he himself caused, to the Democrats' cowardice and rolling over when it becomes inconvenient. Oh, people don't like immigration? Well, we're against immigration too. How did that work out for you, Kamala? How did that work out for you, Biden? Are you happy with yourself? Do you sleep well at night? Because you shouldn't. You shouldn't. There's so much wrong with our politics.
Course of 100 years.
Destroyed their oil industry.
You destroyed their oil industry. You wrecked their economy. You shipped people down there and like created gangs, essentially. You created a market for illicit drugs that could destabilize countries, and then people want to leave. I mean, that's basically what we're looking at. Fascinating.
Indeed.
I'm happy PBD's a citizen. Be nice if he could extend that grace to other people.
It's just, it is so hard for me to understand the mentality. And I should say, like, you know, one of the things that I came to understand when I was down there is that the show is a lost leader, more or less. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it breaks even. Maybe they make money on the show. Although you look at the numbers, the numbers are really good. But, you know, they flew me down. That costs money. They put me up at a hotel. That costs money. I assume they do this with other guests. They probably treat them even better. And they got 4 people sitting in there. They got...
I gotta say, it's a big step up from Tim Pool, right? Tim Pool famously will put you up, or at least I think put Sam up, at an Econo Lodge? Like the cheapest, you know, one of the cheapest hotels you could find.
A studio, that's not the old studio. That's not the bank they used to be in. They moved the whole studio into like an airport hangar.
Wait, that's a different studio than the one you were in?
Yes.
It looks the same.
They took all of those things and dropped it in there.
Weird.
And they bought another building, and the other building is a big business building that houses Patrick Bet-David's newest business. He sold the PHP. I can't remember what that stands for. But that was a business where they would...
Is that the MLM?
Sell insurance, but they would also really drive their revenue through membership. Like you become a member and a salesman at the same time. There's some great videos about it, actually, that break it down. But he sold that, and he started another business. And I was told by somebody in the building that he's got 50 business consultants working for him as part of a business consultant business. And that, I'll tell you, that building was a lot bigger than this one. And so that dynamic is, the show is like a way of getting his name out there and establishing his bona fides. And it's on a private airport. I imagine he maybe has a private plane there. I don't know. But I just don't understand how you can be an immigrant yourself, have, you know, I think he has like a $25 million house. I'm not sure, but a very, you know, I saw a picture of it from some article. I don't know if it's the same place. He drove a Porsche 911 Carrera with like, I mean, he's living the life. All because as an immigrant, he and his family, his parents, were allowed to come into this country under some form of visa. Maybe it was a refugee thing. I think he was in like a refugee camp, I think, at one point. I'm not sure. And he was allowed to come into this country, and he wants to, like, not just shut the door behind him, but demonize these people. Yep. And these are all legal immigrants. Every single person he was referencing in that segment are legal non-citizens in this country.
What do you think 1979 Vinny and Adam would have said about refugees from Iran?
Oh my gosh. I mean, they're younger than me, significantly younger than me, is my understanding. But I remember 1979 in this country. That was 14. And if you were Iranian or Sikh, or frankly, you know, like you were nervous. You were nervous. I mean, really amazing. And I just don't understand the mentality of somebody like that. How can you sit there? And it's really, I think it's like, for them, it's just capitalism. We're just making money here. And we'll make it any way we can. And that's it.
Yeah. Some of the sickest shit that I've seen in online political content is coming from not people that are just morally reprehensible and that have like the worst, most horrible, evil set of beliefs, right? But rather from people that are treating this as a business, making business decisions rather than going with their heart, rather than thinking about their enterprise as being something more than a ledger of expenses and income, right? Like, you'd think it would be obvious. You'd think it would be obvious that this is the one business that you can run that's not just a bit. I mean, the other, I don't know, maybe being like a religious, I don't know, institution or something like that. But right, you would think that this would be one business that might have other considerations that are at least on par with
but it still just is hard for me to like wrap my head around it. All right. Should we play this one more clip? Just because the picture of Judge Janine. You've seen Howard Lutnick, is that his name? Yep. Howard Lutnick say his 97-year-old mother-in-law, who lives in his mansion, probably literally has 24/7 care. Unrelated to Howard, I'm saying someone he hired, would not complain if her Social Security check was a month late.
Or if she did, he would think she was a criminal.
Yes. You've heard...
Chat, if you don't remember the quote that they're referring to, it's when Howard Lutnick said that when you cut off the money, you listen for complaints. And the voices that are complaining the loudest that money's gotten cut off, those are the fraudsters. Those are the criminals. That's the fraud, waste, and abuse, right? When Social Security gets cut, when Medicaid gets cut, when Meals on Wheels gets cut, the person that calls in, arrest that person, right? That's basically what he's saying. And then he says that, he's got his mom or grandmom or something, that he knows that if she didn't get her Social Security check, she would just be like, well, I'm sure that they're working on it. I'm sure, they're just dealing, like, I'll wait. It's okay. I don't need the food right now. I don't need the money right now. It's okay. I'll, right? He presents this, like, this image of this meek, a little woman that's just like, whatever, if the government wants to cut me off of my, sole or my main, like, income source at this point, I'm not going to complain about it.
Probably literally has 24/7 care. Unrelated to Howard, I'm saying someone he hired, would not complain if her Social Security check was a month late.
Or if she did, he would think she was a criminal.
Yes. You've heard Harris Faulkner, is that her name, say, we're at war. We're at war. trade war that we started.
The entire world.
The entire world. And therefore, people are going to understand that if their 401ks crash, and they can't retire, within a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 from when they thought they could, or they're going to retire with, whatever, 10% less than they thought they would, people will understand. It's called patriotism. Well, here's Judge Neen with a very similar take. It's amazing how these incredibly wealthy people are not so upset about their ability to retire.
Enough. And this is what Donald Trump ran on, and he's delivering. And you know what? I don't really care about my 401k today. You know what? Not that I can afford it, not that it isn't important, not that I'm not at a point in my life when I should be worried about my 401k, because I am. But this is what I believe. I believe in this man. And I believe that what we're seeing now with his bringing in $1 trillion in business and manufacturing and companies moving back to the United States, and seeing what we saw during COVID when we couldn't, we had all those supply chain problems. We couldn't get medicine in this country.
I mean, I hope you liked that, because you're about to go right back into a worse version of that, right? There's a metric of economic disruption, or oh my god, I'm trying to remember what the exact term they use is. Volatility, I believe, right? There's a volatility scale, economic volatility, right? And if you look at it, the biggest peaks you see in the last in the 21st century are one in the 2008 financial crisis, secondly COVID, and then larger than the spike in economic volatility for COVID is right now. This has the potential to be more disruptive for not just the United States economy, but the world economy than COVID.
Other countries were prioritizing themselves before they were sending stuff.
I should just say that, fortunately for us, pharmaceuticals are exempt from these tariffs, because about 40% of our pharmaceuticals are manufactured overseas, China, India, and 80% of them have ingredients from those countries. So this is not to build out any industry whatsoever that she is talking about in terms of supply lines. Now, to be fair, Biden did do that with the CHIPS Act. It was those chips. It was those that slowed up like stuff for cars, and we saw it with computers. But this is not an industrial policy, as we talked about with David Dayen. If it was, you would see a whole host of other supports from the government, not willy-nilly same tariffs on bananas as you would get on dishwashers. We're not going to grow bananas in the U.S. There's not going to be suddenly a huge rise in the banana industry in New England, for instance. Go ahead.
Countries were prioritizing themselves before they were sending stuff to us. It's about time we recognize we've got to have manufacturing in this country, and we need to bring them to the table. And Donald Trump is the only one who could do it, because he's got the biggest consumer base in the world. He's not afraid of anybody. He's to the wall in terms of, you know what I mean?
Say that again?
Yeah, you know what I mean. And at the end, it's going to help the working class. And who's complaining? My last point. Right. Who's complaining? Wall Street. Too bad. He's helping the middle class.
Here's the thing, though, right? If you want to say that the stock market is not correlated, is not pegged too strongly with the fortunes of the working class, I will agree with you, right? You know, that as far as stock ownership, it tends to it tends to be people with more money, all right? But we're not just going to get a stock market crash, all right? We're going to have a economic crash. And economic crashes hurt the working class more than they do capitalists, particularly capitalists at the very top of that game have the ability to take something like a market crash, an economic downturn, and use it to buy up businesses or buy up, buy stuff on the cheap, essentially. So like the richer you are, the less you're affected in a negative way, especially in a material way, by the by the fortunes of the economy. So yeah, no, she's full of shit.
And finally, I think it's going to be over this summer.
All right, Dana, we have.
Okay, wait a second.
What's
Now,
going to be over?
Again, tariffs are a regressive tax. That means they hurt the working class more than anybody else. It's just that Wall Street is sensitive to it because
it's going to be a combination. It's going to be a combination between your buying power going down through tariffs, causing inflation, your the number of jobs cuts that they've already enacted in the public sector redounding to the private sector because now there's more competition for those jobs. Companies that don't know what the future is going to be holding back on things like hiring, downsizing, trying to make their falling stocks. Yeah, when stocks fall, right, the CEOs want to get those numbers back up. How do they get the numbers back up? What's the easiest way to raise your stock value? Sadly, it's by firing people. It's through layoffs, right? And so, you're going to have less jobs available. You're going to have more people competing for those jobs. You're going to have a inflation coming from the tariffs. You're also going to have potentially, if Trump gets his way, especially a inflation coming from a weakening dollar. Right now, when the Fed gets this information, the Fed does, two main things: raises interest rates or lowers interest rates. Right? If the economy is bad, the Fed's going to want to lower the interest rates. If the inflation is high, the Fed's going to want to raise the interest rates. The thing that the Fed doesn't really have an answer to is when the economy is bad, jobless rates ticking up, and the and inflation is up, right? That's called stagflation. Look it up if you don't know about this. This is a phenomenon that was very much in play during the late 70s. And this is when they came up with the misery index, right? Like I talked about this earlier this year. There's a thing called the misery index. It's a combination of the jobless rate with the inflation rate, right? When you combine those numbers together, you got something called the misery rate. Now, it's not there probably could be a better metric for just like getting a read on, the state of being of the working class, but it's an attempt to do something like that. It's an attempt to look at the economy through more than just the jobless rate. I think that the reason that they came up with that was due to the stagflation, that it wasn't just that people are getting hit by the lack of availability of work, but also by their money buying less, right? And it's a very difficult. I think the Fed's response during stagflation, I think, to rise the interest rates and just cause kind of unimaginable pain for working people.
Because they know that we have a consumer-based economy, and if you're going to create that type of inflation, it's going to hurt the stock market. Kowalski from Nebraska says, technically, Sam, we can grow bananas and coffee in Hawaii. It might be time for us to reach back to our colonies like the Philippines and start turning them into crop plantations.
For that one. It's like Trump's doing a rug pull with the dollar. Yeah. And God, how much corruption is going on too? That's the other thing. Like the tariffs enable a ever increasing amount of corruption for Trump to be able to, cut little carve outs for people that make themselves useful to him. Obviously the the coins that he and Melania issued earlier this year, and the fact that he's still running businesses. There's a lot of avenues for potential corruption.
Fair. The mill rind. AI will fix the robots. Detective Dubois. Sam got VALUEtained so hard. Tim Pool's emotional support beanie.
I gotta say, chat, I'm more VALUEtained than I thought I would be going into this. Anybo says, too many people were working, too much worker power, rise of unionization, corporate overlords want to have the full godlike power back. Yeah, and if they're not careful, they're going to reap the whirlwind. And, like, I'm not even sure what I mean by that. It's not going to be good for them, all right? Now, look, the high end of that scale of reaping the whirlwind is, like, when the people decide to take matters into their own hands. And in the past, that has paved the way for brutality towards the people that get blamed for the crisis. And usually the rich are able to redirect people. I mean, you even saw it during this last election. No, it's not the rich that are the problem. It's not the rich that are making you miserable. It's the immigrants. It's the trans people. It's the DEI hires. It's all the minorities. It's the women. They won't sleep with, right? They'll try to throw somebody else in front of the bus, to get themselves out of the way. But at some point, chat, the anger of the public is not going to miss. And it's going to be brutal for these people, for these tech overlords, especially considering how much arrogance they cultivated. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be fucking brutal. Like, they think that they don't like workers having more power. Oh my God, if they only knew how good they had it, post Roosevelt, right? How much less likely they made an actual worker rebellion, which would have had disastrous, physically, like, perilous results for them. Like, at some point, chat, they're gonna look back and they're gonna be like, God, Bernie wasn't so bad. They're gonna wish for Bernie.
As soon as Sam starts to make them look dumb, they resort to yelling over each other. It would be comical if it wasn't so sad. When they say they weren't supposed to be here, what they mean is, I don't want them here. Exactly.
It's like chimpanzees reacting to a new chimp being introduced into the cage, and they just start jabbering.
Spike us, the great and powerful Dr. Oz. John Miller, the turning down of the volume of the shouting red face was hilarious, especially after he says, I'm not yelling. It was pretty cool, the setup they had. They had like little panels where you could actually control each.
Yeah. So what it sounds like is they actually had something similar to what you'd find in in like a music studio, right? This is something that when you record a band, you'll often have a way to put different mixes. In fact, this is necessary for a lot of sessions to be able to put a different mix into different headphones, right? The person in the control room, they're going to be getting, one mix, right? That's maybe reflective of what they think the final mix is going to look like. But for the guitarist is going to want to hear, the drums and want to hear this, but not hear this. The bass player is going to want to hear this, but not this, right? Every member of the band has their own personal mix. And it sounds like that's what they had with Sam. They had the ability for him to alter, his, like a soundboard. You know what that looks like, right? The levels and stuff like that. Imagine there's a soundboard for the PBD studio. One of the things says Patrick. One of the things says Vinny. One of the things says Tom. One of the things says Sam. And instead of it just being that, like, they've got a mixer for everybody that's for the recording. They've got at each station the ability to turn up and down everybody else on the recording.
Mike, in terms of the way that you were getting the mix in there. I don't know how that happened. But the problem was I didn't know, and they didn't know which number he was.
I'm trying to remember what the I've used something like this. I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I'm thinking it's called a countryman or something like that. There's some kind of device called a countryman that gives you can put a personalized mix into your headphones for you. Yeah, eat the rich. That's right. Shouting red face sounds bad. Hope we didn't get to see that part of it. Hope to work at a community space to spread information again and teach the channel. Username here is for the org I co-founded with a late friend and right before I became disabled. Yeah, is it really 3:47? You're right, Philip Blair. I gotta go. I spent way more time than I meant to on this, but this is kind of interesting.
And so I kept like turning myself down in my own ears. And so you'll see by the end of the at one point I'm wearing the headphones here. Because he was too loud. I mean, aside from him yelling, just his mic, for whatever reason, was cranked up on mine. And he was sitting next to me, like 6 inches away from me.
His face was so red.
But the funny part is that like I sit down.
Vinny the Beat.
And he's, I think, like considerably shorter than me. And I sit down and I'm like this. And he goes, "Do you want me to lower your chair?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." So I don't know if they ever put us in 2 or 3 shot or something. Daniel from Virginia, it's called a mixer. No, it's not. It was a distro. It was like a mixer, but a distribution box as well, because they were sitting on everybody's.
To have each of the mics independently adjustable boggles my mind with complexity.
That means that they must have a mix minus that goes to the 5 of them. The 5 seats, or that somehow there's a mix minus in these boxes that are right here. There's a lot of money invested in that studio.
Yeah,
and
it's not cheap. I mean, it's not that expensive. Like I said, like most audio, recording studios, most music recording studios would have something like this. So it's not unheard of or anything. But yeah, it is a pretty, it's also not cheap.
They may do 1 million views a day, maybe more, which is more than we do, but not that much more. And we don't fly in guests. We're going to have Matt Duss in studio next week. He's the only person we allow in studio for whatever reason. Dummy leg. There are 4 dudes in Florida with broken ankles and busted backs from all of the pivoting and goalpost pushing they did yesterday. Well done, Sam. It's not easy trying to explain progressive policies for reactionary rockheads like that. They really, I think I'm a communist. And then they were very fixated on who do you like in the presidential election. And I'm like, I really...
Probably a studio-wide setup doing it networked. Free on every Linux distro. What we run is called a sound server. The sound syncs it display in Mixer can come from any source on the network.
That's when I tuned in and they were like, just say somebody.
I mean, I said, I think like I can tell you who I think is going to be running, but I need to see what their policies are. Come on. What's that about? It's just about like how I decide who to vote for president. Like what, like, I kept waiting for what the gotcha was. I'm like, I don't have a name.
I think they wanted to say like AOC so they could just do their bash AOC package or something like that. But you said McGovern and they had nothing.
Yes. Who's your favorite politician? Well, I mean, Jim McGovern, president. He would actually be pretty good.
Can we Google Jim McGovern?
Oh, he doesn't look pretty sexy.
Google Jim McGovern woke Adam, quick.
I wonder if that's the first and the last time anybody's ever going to say the name Jim McGovern on Patrick Bet-David show.
Yeah.
I have not heard from Congressman McGovern for the thanks for the shout out on the PDB show. Dixie Savage.
Watches on the weekend.
Said PDB.
Hey, Sam, any opinion on Sean Fain and Yanis Varoufakis supporting these tariffs? I was surprised to hear that. I'm not terribly surprised. I mean, certainly from a car standpoint, this is going to be helpful to the car companies. And Trump has threatened the car companies. And Ford came out with, like, they're going to do even a discount. And Fain's primary agenda is going to be to strengthen the UAW. And Varoufakis, I think, broadly speaking, I mean, look, I am in favor of tariffs as part of a bigger industrial plan. We need much more of this from our government.
Hasan's explanation of what Sam's talking about here is that, like, you know, let's say that you've got a shed and the shed is leaking, right? You got a shed, the problem is the roof is leaking, right? And what are you going to do if you've got that? Well, you're going to tear down the roof. But what you're going to do first, before you tear down the shed, assuming you're going to tear down the shed to replace it, you're going to procure the materials. Because tearing down the shed does not help you. It actually puts you in a worse situation. If what you want is to stay out of the rain, right? Tearing down the shed in absence of the abilities of the materials necessary to rebuild the shed is ridiculous. And that's essentially what Trump's plan does. You need to have, in other words, an industry in your country, and it needs to be kind of scaled up. It needs to be able to be scaled up to meet your needs before you can put tariffs against products from that industry from other countries coming in. And in a lot of cases, we don't. We don't have a industry in place to be able to take advantage of the reduced competition, which is what the tariffs do. Is they reduce the competition, they nerf the competition from abroad. And yeah, no, it's just absolutely boneheaded. I don't know what else to say.
But doing tariffs without the supports mechanisms doesn't do anything. And doing tariffs in this way, where it's just we're going to do it per country, not based upon an industry, again, there's probably a list of 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 products that make as little sense to produce or to try and build an industry in this country, a la bananas, despite the fact that we could level Hawaii and just grow bananas there. And also to do it without any ramp up to say, like, under the CHIPS Act, there's this company, TSMC. They're from Taiwan. They came in to build semiconductor chips. They don't have the workers in Arizona to fill all these positions. They had to bring in like 1,000 workers. And the idea is over time they're going to train, but they can't do that because you just don't have the workers yet who know how to work in these factories, because these are, high-tech factories. So
look, where there's an industry that already exists, right? Tariffs could potentially benefit that industry, right? There's an industry that already exists, but it's not able to break out because it's got too much competition. There are companies from abroad that can outperform it, can offer a better value per price, right? Then that's an issue in that industry where tariffs would help. But where there's not an industry, you're just cutting off your nose.
The idea that you're
going to have no nose, you're going to look like Voldemort.
Just do this overnight without any planning, without any government support. If Donald Trump came out and said, like, we're just doing the, tariffs on vehicles, or let's say like solar panels, and we're also simultaneously passing legislation to retrain coal miners to assemble solar panels. And the job's going to be just as well paying, and we're going to send them to school, and we're going to, provide these support, and we're giving, an enterprise zone, we're going to give you subsidies to build it in West Virginia or into Pennsylvania, whatever it is. That would make some sense. Broadly speaking, from an ideological perspective, I am all in favor of tearing down the fake free trade regime that we have, because it's fake. It's not free.
Good question. Death size. I did cover already the Ethan content. We're in the bonus half. We're in the fun half of the show now. Cover something else and today for me to cover this guy, not Waluigi, but this guy, Sam Seder. So I think that if you look on my channel, if you really want to watch the Ethan content, I think that'll be on the previous VOD, because we did have the stream go down and come back up and still got the same stream title. A lot to change that right now. Oh God, I should have set up an edit. I should have given somebody editor for Twitch. Then they'd be able to change the title. Yeah, we're just gonna have to.
Trade regime. We don't allow labor to go cross borders. We allow capital to. We allow empowerment from corporations over the sovereignty of various countries. I am also not in favor. So what Sean Fain says is really not that surprising to me.
I'd also say, like, it's kind of, this whole thing with tariffs is kind of avoidance of the real issue with our competitiveness. BYD, the car company that you're going to hear more and more about because they're outcompeting us,
subsidies.
It was given $2.1 billion in subsidies from the Chinese state 2 years ago.
Of course.
But that would be communism. Beyond that, chat, that would be a command economy. Central planning. We can't do that. We can't do that.
Of course.
We have to be spending, investing in things that matter for the next century.
And here's the problem, is that the story these guys like to tell is that government has no role in this.
Exactly.
And when they see industries outpace us because they've been supported by government, because the fact of the matter is, and this is going to come as a shock to a lot of these people, the pursuit of profit is not, sometimes it can be in the best interest of society.
Not a good in and of itself.
But not always. I don't know what the percentage breakdown is.
We're going to look back, or like future generations will look back at our era, and they will marvel at the peculiar fetish that we had for the market, the quasi-religious way that people in this time period looked at the market and saw a result as better, an objectively worse result. They saw it as better because it was a result achieved by the market with minimal or no government intervention than a better result achieved with central planning and like a command, like they're gonna look back in the future, right? Especially considering that, look, like the way it looks now, chat, is that China, it is going to be the Chinese century, right? There's very little I could see getting in the way of that, stopping that, like precluding that, right? And when it's people are going to follow the example of the successful country, the country that pulled itself from subsistence farming in the earlier half of the 20th century to becoming a dominant economic political and cultural force on the world scene. That's going to be what gets remembered. That's going to be what gets emulated. That's going to be how people are going to look to run things in the future. And when they look back at why didn't the United States do that? Well, they believed in the market. They wanted they wanted the same thing. They wanted the good outcome, but they wanted the market to do it. And they tried it, and the market didn't do it. The market did its own thing because the market's controlled by people who just want to make a profit. And that profit is not a good in and of itself. That profit does no good. Like, right? There's no fucking God in heaven that's like, okay, well, you know, you did this with a free market, so here you all go to heaven. You all go to economic heaven because of that. Like, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. This quasi-religious worship of the market is going to be looked back at by future generations as just batshit. Just absolute, the same way that we look at the divine right of kings. Oh, that person gets to you know, run the country because of they're in the dynasty, they're in the bloodline, they're the older brother, and the, you know, like, right, that was the logic. You thought that God wanted this particular family to run this particular area? Really? You thought that these French kings were related to Jesus? Really?
I would say it's much less than I think we give it credit for. Have you ever talked to somebody who's like, who does like VC work in the medical field? They have all these stories of these amazing medical devices or drugs, but they're just not profitable, so they don't invest in them.
Yeah, I heard a story of a blue mushroom, a blue iridescent mushroom that grows in Peru, and it has to grow in a polluted environment and be shit on by a turtle. But you know, if you get this mushroom, Chad, it'll cure whatever ails you. You could be shot and, you know, be bleeding out of like 42 holes in your body, and you eat this mushroom. But yeah, Chad, they just it wasn't going to be profitable because they wouldn't allow it to come to market.
Number 13, do you think there's no possibility the military gets too concerned about Trump's behavior? Don't they swear?
They said it came with some side effects.
To the Constitution? I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not in favor of a military coup. I should just go on record saying that. Yeah. I'm against the military coup. But I think this reality show that we're going through is...
I'd be more worried about corporations, personally.
Tim Pool fan, Sam, I think your PBD episode was even more painful to watch than your Jubilee episode. You know, the funny thing is that, like, I'm going back to the airport, I'm in the car, and I'm going, like, there were 4 guys talking over me the whole time, and it never really occurred to me during that being in there, like, hey, wait a second, I should call this out. Like, it just sort of, like, that's what's going on in my head most of the time anyways. It just happened to be embodied. But I was like, I wonder what would happen if I invited Patrick Bet-David on this show and had him sitting in this studio and we had to, like, walk him through stuff. Like, there is a big advantage. And frankly, like, when we have guests on, I try and do my best to be fair about it. There is a big advantage when you're asking all the questions. There's a bigger advantage if you have 4 people who are talking over the person you've asked the questions of when they try to respond to it. But even with that said, I feel like they should be embarrassed by what happened in that studio.
Wait, that was an Odysseus reference? I thought it was a One Piece.
Not just by their own behavior, but by how I...
I thought you were talking about the devil's fruit.
Countered everything they had to say that was even remotely substantive. They got me on the I couldn't pick a presidential candidate.
Got him.
Company Townie, waiting for the crash was so boring, so we just caused a crash. It's peasant. All right, 5 more of these. Vermont Ben. Has trickle-down economics ever worked for working class people? I've been hearing it my entire 33 years on this planet, but I keep getting caught in recessions.
Oh, look, it's a fucking, it's like a narrative, right? It works as a narrative. It has truthiness. It sounds right. It sounds like it should work. And if you buy into fucking the market religion, then it's gonna sound really good for you. To you. Yeah. No. You want people to have enough money. Well, you could just give the money to them, right? You could redistribute the wealth, but there's something impure about that. The market god doesn't like that one. So instead, what we're going to do to please the market god and to, just do a little loophole here, we're actually going to give the money to the wealthy, and then because they're wealthy, you know what the wealthy do? They make jobs. They create jobs just the same way that a snail leaves a slippery, slick trail everywhere it goes. The wealthy, they leave jobs everywhere they go. So if we give it to the wealthy, it'll just naturally turn into, the slime that is jobs, and you'll be able to slurp up that after they, travel. I don't know, chat. I don't know what the slug metaphor was doing, but you get the idea, right? Like, it's this just particular fetish of like, no, we've got to give it to the wealthy. That's more pure. That's better. And that's not seen as a market intervention.
And bailouts for corporations. No. Correct. I walked them through that Kansas situation, and they just had nothing to say. Davy Hellbender. Did Patrick's dad work for the Shah? I don't know. I wouldn't imagine that he's in there until 1989. I think he was Christian. I think that was part of it. Phineas Herb. The next time Trump orders the military and protesters, does someone say no? I don't know. The Massive. Network audio, most likely, like RedNet or something. I don't know what that means.
Look into it.
Network audio.
All right, two more. Official Penguin rep. Ricketts has the advantage. Ricketts is popular with independents in Nebraska.
Do you think that Voice Meter has any kind of product like that on a, laptop, like that you could, you know what I mean? Like a software product?
Advantage to Osborne is state Republicans are sliding further right, while people within the state are growing tired of the constant culture war. And the final IM of the week. Thames Darwin. Most important.
I believe it's pronounced Thames Darwin.
Important to impose tariffs with no preparation for them while slashing the social safety net amounts to shock doctrine tactics. I suspect we're going to be talking more about that in the...
Bring on Naomi Klein, please, Sam. Book her. Matt, somebody book Naomi Klein.
Weeks and months to come. We'll see. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out...
There it is, chat. That is... Damn, look, I was kind of worried about this because I was like, listen, I've seen a couple of clips of this. I don't like how it came off. Like to somebody who's been watching the Majority Report, they're going to see how full of shit the PBD guys are. And it's not like I'm worried about like Sam's audience thinking, I don't know, maybe PBD's right. Maybe I should be conservative. But to the PBD audience, like some of the stuff that I watched, I was like, yeah, I mean, they're going to buy that, right? They're going to be able to sell this as a win, right? So I was kind of like, what do you do, in that case? And, how do you kind of, when somebody's like just rubbed, oh my God, what just happened? Something went wrong. Try reloading the page. Good. Hopefully this reloads. I don't know what's going on, chat. Are we still here? Are we okay? I just felt like the truth got a raw deal from some of the clips that I saw. But reading those comments on PBD's page, I don't know. I don't know what went on, but this might just work out. This might be okay. So good for that. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Thumb Gang. Thank you for liking the stream, even though it's a second stream. Already potentially liked a stream. Thank you for doing the double duty of like, one thumb here and one thumb over there. Thank you so much. That helps me out. That helps more people see both streams. Sorry about the technical difficulties, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Yeah. I keep on talking about maybe doing a morning stream. We'll see how that goes. Tonight might be a good. This might be a good day to do it. What would it be, like a Sunday morning stream for you all? I think I don't know. That might work out. There's nobody's going to be watching Majority Report. So, but yeah, I talked about maybe doing like a Twitch exclusive stream at some point. I still have my eyes on that, but got a lot of things to take care of. I gotta find an apartment, get in there. I've got to get my setup reassembled. We've got a lot of it reassembled here, and I am pretty much ready to plug in my webcam to give slightly better visual to go along with the audio. The thing that'll still be weak is that I'll be on the laptop, which, I don't know how much you'll notice that. It could be more freezing and stuff like that, but it's actually behaved pretty well today, so maybe not. God. I need the streams for when my girlfriend my girlfriend's work opens. Add you on Blue Sky. I'll try to. I haven't been able to log into a lot of stuff, unfortunately, because I'm only on my laptop here, and stupid me, I I don't have like a, what do you call it, like a key pass or something like that. There's certain logins that I don't have access to, but I did get a power strip, right? That's part of what I need to be able to plug in my desktop. I need the power strip. The other thing that I need is an HDMI cable, because stupid me, I left all of my display, all of my HDMI, every single cable that could plug in a display, I left it in Trump's America. Wonder how many comments are from AI bots. Wait, on the PBD thing? Yeah, I'll see you again either tomorrow or tonight. Or tonight, what would it be? No, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. If I end up streaming, what'll be for me tonight, it'd be, when it's basically, chat, when it's morning here, it's nighttime there. And when it's nighttime here, it's morning there. So it's going to be a little backwards, in terms of the light you see coming in from the window. But it looks like we're having a storm today. So it might not be a good day to go out and do things anyway. So it might be the perfect day to sit in and, I don't know, maybe do a Twitch stream. Maybe do a little bit of gaming. Who knows, chat? We'll see. We'll see. I just downloaded this new ENA game. Did you know that there's a ENA, wait, chat, you got to know about ENA, right? Chat, know about ENA?
Hey, Ina, check out this neat trick. Look, there are already some people here. What idiots.
So yeah, this is like this, I don't know how to explain it, but it's fucking awesome.
I want to teach anything!
Anyway, I can't play too much of it because it's got like, what do you call it? Copyrighted. But yeah, there's like a video game of this that's come out for Steam, and I just downloaded it. Anyway, it looks cool as fuck. Oh look, here's the gameplay. Fuck.
Oi.
This is the beginning of the game. Wow. So impressed. Wow. 30 seconds of silence.
何してるんだ?
Oh, it's in Japanese. Okay.
さあ来い。その目を労働に向ける時が来た。
Oh shit, this looks cool as fuck. Anyway, you might see me playing this some morning. Looks pretty cool. Open this door? It's a bed though. It's a bed! How is that a door? What are those legs? Oh, okay.
Hope you don't mind, but could you tell me?
Where the hell is the boss?
Yes, I am the boss.
そんなわけないだろ、アホが。真に受けるなよえな。こいつはボスなんかじゃない。
Oh, I get it. It's not the game's not in Japanese. It's a character that speaks Japanese.
Okay, you got me. I am not the boss, nor a penguin, but in fact, the great Dracula.
ああ、いったくいかれた野郎だ。そんなやつとはもうやってられるか。
I am of nuts. I am Dracula.
What are your pain points? What's your problem? What are our business struggles today? Let me help you invest in your future.
え？それって新手のマルチか何か？難しい言葉よしてくれないか。めまいがしそうだ。
No! Just tell me about this dumb job already!
仕事に積極的なのか。
That's how I feel, chat, when I get a new job. Anyway, yeah, I might play this sometime soon. Looks like a fun game. I've got it downloaded. You can download it too for free. It's called Ina Dream Barbecue. If you want to, if you got Steam, you can download it for free. And we got the NCC did nothing wrong. It's awesome. You've played it, Daymal? Fair use, fair use. Yeah, hopefully we get away with fair use here. Need to play more Valhalla again. Okay, you're saying I need to play more Valhalla. I never finished that game. Somebody told me there was something like weird and yikes in that game. I don't know what it was, but I didn't get to that part of it. Japanese Dracula? Yeah, Dracula. But anyway, much love, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Stay cool, okay? Or stay warm. Anyway, stay at a comfortable temperature. Talk to you later, maybe this morning. No, tomorrow morning, maybe evening. Yes, that's the other one. Anyway,